You know, a wiser man than me once said, "Freedom, I won't let you down. Freedom, I will not give you up. Freedom, gotta have some faith in the sound." And what sound can that wise man have been talking about but the sound of the Spitfires that kept this great nation safe during the Battle of Britain? That's the noise that I made in my bedroom when I pretended to be a Spitfire. And I will never forgive my parents for giving birth to me just too late for me to be a pilot in the Battle of Britain, because I know I would have been a great pilot, and I would have done a lot of During the Battle of Britain, they didn't force people to do things they didn't want to do. People wanted to put blackout blinds up, and if they didn't, nobody wrote anything nasty about them or threatened to send them to prison. That's a fact, and I'm a historian, so I should know. You see, those brave men and boys, which would have included me, I'd have been great at it and braver than all of them put together, fought for my freedom. My freedom to live my life exactly as I choose, to ignore the wishes, needs, or existence of all other people if they impinge on my whims. Because what is freedom, if it's not the freedom to push an old man out of the way so you can get the last seat on the bus, or the freedom to run over a lollipop lady because you're late for work, or the freedom to set off fireworks in a cinema because you think it will improve the film? You know, at the height of the Battle of Britain, Churchill turned to me and said, "I don't think I can do this." And I said, "Winnie, old boy, you have to. Because if you don't, then in 80 years' time, I won't have the freedom to give an immunocompromised person a deadly disease." And do you know what he said to me? Nothing. He just shoved his cigar back in his mouth and went and won the bloody war. And I don't think the fact that that was just a dream I had makes any difference to how powerful it is. As a wise man once said, you have to take these lies and make them true somehow. Because let's not forget, I don't belong to you, and you don't belong to me. You gotta give for what you take. And I'll take what belongs to you, thank you, because that is my freedom. Are you a middle-aged man criticizing an athlete on Twitter for having mental health problems? Do you think lifeboats should check passports before they save people and have shared this opinion online? Did you watch a trailer for a new film that you did not care for and are now crafting a detailed threat to send to the lead actress? Then you might need Just Don't. Over years of painstaking research, our highly qualified scientists have developed a revolutionary new program for dealing with the confrontational urges that strike men, and some women, but mostly men, on a daily basis. For just £100 a month, we'll send you an hourly text message reminding you that it's not compulsory to give your opinion on everything, and literally no one will notice if you don't. For £200 a month, you'll have exclusive access to our app, which monitors your heart rate through your smartwatch. When your BPM goes above 90, indicating stress or arousal, the app blocks all outgoing messages and social media posts to or about people that you don't actually know. For £500 a month, we'll send a Just Don't specialist to your house every week to talk about your thoughts and problems. This isn't therapy, which you don't believe in, this is science. And for public figures with particularly severe urges, we've devised a 7-day intensive residential course in which we explain how much damage has been done to society by the proliferation of performative sociopathy for clicks, and how getting famous for being objectionable will not make your dead parents love you. And if that doesn't work, at the end of the week, we push you into a hole. So if you're thinking about saying something awful, remember you do have a choice. Try Just Don't. Although do keep doing it occasionally so we know who to keep an eye on. Just Don't does not work when combined with alcohol. If you still have symptoms after 3 months, you may just be an arsehole. Well, I suppose I'd say that we in government have spent far too long dealing with this pandemic, and it's now time for the public to take back control. So you're just washing your hands of it? Well, if we've learned one thing from the last year, it's that it's very important to wash your hands. Oh, sorry, I should, Oh. What is it, Minister? I've been, pinged by the app. So you need to self-isolate? Well, in theory, yes. But in practice, I'm actually part of a pilot scheme, meaning that I don't have to self-isolate. Really? Yes, it's for key workers and high-ranking government officials. And, it's the Prime Minister. I should probably... Right, yes. Of course, I do have to self-isolate. So that pilot scheme isn't a real thing. That's right. No, it is real. I'm just not high-ranking enough. No, it's not real. You can see how people could be confused. I mean, it's very clear. Oh, right, that's my children's school. Apparently they have to come home immediately because their bubble has burst. I'm sure my wife can do that. Do you need to go? No, it's fine, I'll just... Oh. Right, that's my wife. She says she's watching this at work. Hello, darling. And that I need to go and collect them. But aren't you self-isolating? Well, yes, but surely I can collect my children. That's what any responsible father would do. Oh, that's my secretary. Apparently she's been pinged as well. Thinks it must have been when we were out for dinner on Saturday night. What was that? Oh, that's my wife, making the very reasonable point that I told her I was having dinner with my brother on Saturday night and that she's leaving me. And that I still have to pick up the kids. Right, well, that's no problem. I've still got the ministerial car. I can just... Minister? Not anymore, apparently. I've just been sacked. Oh, and my secretary's leaving me. And I've got COVID. Great. Thank you, former minister. Oh, for God's sake. Do you suddenly feel under attack? Are you losing friends you thought you had for life? Are you persona non grata? Then you may be saying the quiet bit out loud. We all know we're living in a new age of impunity, where people get away with things that only a few years ago would have been career-ending. Bullying, fine. Corruption, no props. More corruption, whatever. But then you put up a post about football and suddenly you're the bad guy. What's going on? Well, you may be saying the quiet bit out loud. For example, suggest that Black Lives Matter encourages division. Cool. We know what you really mean, but you're not quite saying it. However, declare that black footballers shouldn't get involved in politics because it makes them bad at football. Oops, now everyone can see who you really are. What's that? You think that masks are an infringement of your civil liberties and that social distancing is un-British? Congratulations, you've got yourself a column in a national newspaper. Add that the lives of disabled and vulnerable people don't really matter to you and that the very concept of a social conscience is a mad Stalinist dream. Back to Twitter with you, you heartless troll. Are you worried that public services are under strain because there are just too many people in the country? Every political party will nod in agreement. Suggest a few simple ways of changing that. They'll shake their heads, then wink a lot. But what if you've said the quiet bit out loud, then find yourself in trouble? That's okay, just say it was taken out of context, or satire, or both. You see, it might have seemed that you were being bigoted, but in fact you crossed your fingers when you sent that tweet, so no one can hold it against you. Sure, there was no indication in the article that you weren't being serious, but in fact you wrote it in Comic Sans, and it's not your fault that the newspaper changed the font. That horrible statement you made was actually a joke, because you laughed in your head when you said it, and no one can prove that you didn't. Whether or not these methods work depends on how important you are. If you're an MP or above, you're golden. If you're not, you may find yourself at the job centre. Just don't tweet about why you think it's so busy in there. We in government know that many vulnerable and disabled people are feeling worried as #Freedom Day approaches. But please be assured that we are committed to giving you exactly the same attention as we gave disabled and vulnerable people before COVID came along. We've all spent the last 15 months behaving as carefully as we can, staying in our homes and being worried about our health. We've had a small glimpse of what your lives can be like all of the time, and let me tell you, we didn't enjoy it. It's awful that anybody has to live like this any of the time. And luckily for us, from the 19th of July, we won't have to, and you are used to it already, so it's less bad for you. If you're worried about what happens next, here are a few simple guidelines for keeping safe. Spend as much time outdoors as you can. If you're having friends round, stay in the garden. Maybe have a rain-themed party. If you don't have a garden, consider moving somewhere that does. Avoid people who haven't been double vaccinated. But how can you tell? Well, try prodding them with a metal bar to see if they're magnetic. And if that doesn't work, just yell from a distance, "Have you had the double jab?" If you don't fancy doing either of those, maybe just stay in your garden. Face masks will no longer be mandatory while shopping, so if you need to make a purchase, maybe try going at a less busy time, like after midnight or before 6 AM. If the retail establishment you want to go to isn't open during those times, simply break in, select the items you require, and then make sure you leave the correct change. If by some miracle you've managed to get a job despite your condition, you may be expected to go back to the office. You can ask your employer to reorganize the workplace around you, but be aware that they don't have to. So it may be easier for both them and you if you spend your time doing something else. Maybe just stay in your garden. Above all, remember to remain vigilant and do everything you can to stay safe, because our freedom is important to us, and yours is a bit tricky, to be honest. Let's face it, you were never going to vote for us anyway, were you?